Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Epic Live. I am your host, as always, athletic and event coordinator here at the Epic, JJ Jefferson. And tonight, we've got another episode on our Road to the Purge series. And tonight, I've got a special guest to my left, joining me from taking a break from his busy schedule. Let's give a big round of applause and a big shout out to none other than Deville. Day, how are you doing this evening?
Doing great. Thank you for
Hey, I appreciate you being here. Looking forward to kind of covering all things Purge. But before we get there, kind of the icebreaker question that I throw out to all of my guests and also for the audience to kind of get to know you guys a little bit better. Kind of give us your background. Like, what drew you to professional wrestling?
Man, we were all kids once, right? And everybody wants to be a pro wrestler, whether they say it or not. You know, we all know the guys. We all know the Hogans, the Stone Colds, everybody. At the end of the day, wrestling's bigger than life,
Right.
And the thing is a lot of guys don't know that it's even a thing they can do. You just grew up watching it on TV, and you're like, oh man, that's a thing.
Right.
Next thing you know, there's local wrestling around the corner. So a little bit of the actual background of me. I was a competitive bodybuilder for over a decade. That was
Okay.
my life's work. That was coming to a close, and then somebody drugged me out to a wrestling show. I'm like, oh man, there's a thing. Let's go do some of that. So at the end of the day, always wanted to be in the game. Didn't know how to get into the game. Found the game, jumped in, and here we are on the way to the Purge.
Yes, man. You kind of touched on it. And for those of you, again, kind of just tuning in, and if you're just now learning about MPX, you got to catch up because without a doubt, man, MPX is literally the best weekly running show, not just in Texas, in my opinion. I think it's the best weekly running show across the board. Day, you can kind of piggyback because, you know, you started out at MPX, and that's the next question I have for you is kind of give us a little backstory about your start.
So, I mean, man, it's, you got guys who, they came up the ranks, they jumped from promotion to promotion, they did all these things. And I'm gonna tell you point blank, man. I went to an MPX show and then said, you know what, I'm gonna go join the academy. And then 6 months later, I was on the show. And that's just, it shows overall that, first of all, not just anybody can do this.
Right.
But if you got this thing, and you got the mindset, and so I'm not going to take no for an answer. I'm going to run through this and do the job. Man, it can happen relatively quickly. You got guys who do it, jump on in 6 months like me. You got guys who take 6 years.
Right.
There's no time frame by any means. But I came into it as an outsider with a passion for the business. I mean, I love the programming. I love wrestling in general. Right. But did not have much background in independent wrestling on independent shows. So, I mean, my trajectory was short.
Right.
Very, very short, but that's because I wasn't going to wait. You jumped into training, you learned the game quick, you got your ass kicked left and right. Excuse my language there.
It's all good.
I'll watch myself.
We've had the scorn on here, so it's okay.
So yeah, Scorny boys have been here. I'm free. It's free game right there. But within bumps and bruises. I mean, I'm telling you, man. In the beginning, I was like, yeah, this hurts.
Right.
But stuck with it. Really, really, really grinded it out. And MPX, that's home for me, man. MPX has seen pretty good things in me, and I see good things with MPX. So, hey, I'm there, and so far, so good.
No, man, I definitely love it, and I respect the passion that you kind of have for the business and for the MPX addicts, myself included. I remember kind of seeing you kind of in that training mode. At one point in time, you're part of the group, the TWC.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you talk about a group that just ran roughshod over the business, like you guys were taking out some of the top talent. You guys were putting people on the sidelines. And for those of you that don't know who or what the TWC was, it was Deville, it was Kaimi, you had Coach Nick, or at the time Ref Nick, Demo Diamond, and Kari Wright.
Yeah.
And kind of just seeing where you started to where not only you, but the entire TWC as a whole, I mean, everybody's just firing on all cylinders right now.
Right, which is rare.
You
rarely see that in a faction. Sometimes when you might see a faction going on, you got your big players, and then you got some guys who are, they're doing the support work. And when it came down to the TWC, it's like that was lightning in a bottle. And from my experience in the game, coming into it, a very strong faction, very strong story, and everybody having the power to step forward and do something.
Right.
If it wasn't one guy one week, the next guy next week. I mean, everybody in the TWC fought for the MPX championship.
Right.
Everybody. I mean, I fought for it twice. Kaime's fought for it twice.
Right.
Kari was probably the best MPX champion of all time, in my opinion.
Ignore us. That's just work calls.
That's just work. And you look at Devo Diamond. I mean, a star himself. A beast.
Right.
And a great addicts champion.
Right.
Right. And heck, we got Purge coming up. He's fighting for the gold.
Yeah, that he is.
So everybody in the TWC, and of course, not to, Coach Nick. I mean, Coach Nick is. I mean, that guy is a MPX alumni.
Right.
And for him to go through the phases that he went through, everybody in that team was a star, even though we may have been having to go in there and rough up some guys, and ruffle some feathers, but everyone I feel in that faction had star power.
No, man, I definitely can echo that sentiment. And I do remember, again, being one of the loyal addicts that I am, when the TWC first kind of stepped foot and, showcased what you guys were capable of. I was that guy. I was like, man, here we go. Where are we going with this? At first I was Team MPX when the war was going on. But then as we got closer to that show, and I'll never forget that moment, it was the war on Texas. And that's kind of where the TWC had its crowning moment. And you had Kari 3 belts at the time. Because Kari, like you mentioned, he was the Addicts champion. Then he was the Prospect champion, and that's when they kind of decided we're going to do away with the Prospect title. But before we do, we're going to get the cash-in of the century. We're going to get the heist of the century, and that's where Kari got the MPX title. And then, like you mentioned, ever since then, you guys have been blazing your own trail. More recently, Kaimi last week, and Kaimi, if you're watching this, we'll be in touch because I want to get you on a show here soon. Kaimi had a singles match against Danny O'Ryan. And when you talk about Danny O'Ryan, that's one of those guys on the Texas indie scene that you've got guys that are kind of here, and then you kind of got your guys that are here. But it's just something about Danny O'Ryan that puts him over the top. And the fact that Kaimi went in there one-on-one and held his own, I mean, I could sing his praises, but I kind of want to get your perspective because you've ran with Kaimi, just like you ran with Demo and Kari, which we'll touch on them in a second. But kind of give me your takeaway from seeing Kaimi have that moment.
Man, from the jump of me meeting Kaimi, that kid, he to me, he's that kid in terms of like the sky's the limit.
Right.
And he's a beast in the ring, the most humblest guy out there. Now he'll talk his trash and he'll kick some ass, but the thing is that dude is a shooter. And to see the opportunities he's gotten and the work that he puts in is, I mean, bro, I'm an old guy that got into the game. So, I mean, I go in there and I do my little thing, man. But, seeing him progress, like stratosphere progression I've seen him do. I mean, he's a young man,
right.
Very young man. All these guys are. But, seeing Kaimi and what he's been able to do, I mean, you talk about matches with Danny, you talk about matches with Fuego.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy goes in there and handles business no matter who he's with.
Right.
And he's a take all comers kind of kid. And when he's in there, he doesn't look out of place at all. Never. It looks like he's been running with these guys for as long as can be, and this is just another stop. So I can't wait to see how far this man's career goes.
I'm super excited for it. And you also kind of alluded to it as well with the Purge right around the corner. It was also just announced this past Saturday night. Demo Diamond is challenging for the Tommy Becker's MPX title. And the stipulation, honestly, with the bad blood that's brewing between them, it's kind of fitting for a show like the Purge at a venue like the Epic. It is no holds barred, which means anything can happen. Like, this match can end in submission. It could end in a pinfall. It could very well end in a knockout, maybe. I really don't know. But kind of give me your takeaway on what you kind of see and how you see that playing out for Demo and for Tommy, even, because you've got history with both of them.
Man, I mean, Tommy broke my ankle, so I've got a little bit of history with Tommy. But talk about Tommy Becker. I've been close to Demo.
Right.
Now, so we may not be teammates anymore, but I've been close to Demo, and watching what he's been able to do day in and day out in that ring is phenomenal.
Right.
If anybody can really push a veteran like Tommy Becker, it's Demo. Definitely so. But Demo, I will say this about Demo. Demo's also a kid.
Yeah, man.
This old man can say that. But Demo's a kid, and Demo can be hot-headed.
Hey, I don't know, man, but like we talked about with the Purge, I mean, that stipulation of, the rules, quote unquote, it's kind of gone out the window.
Hey, maybe so. Maybe that will be the edge that Demo needs to take out a cerebral. I'm not going to say assassin. We're not going to do those. We're going to do those words. I'm saying a cerebral force like the Tommy Becker, right? Take out a guy like that. Maybe he will be able to dig into those no rules,
right,
and squeeze out the win.
Right.
It's all I know. It's going to be epic.
That it is. And the third member kind of in that faction, and one of the shining stars of all of MPX wrestling, Texas wrestling, and I mean just wrestling in general, you got Kari Wright. And when you talk about what Kari can do in a ring, I mean, everyone that I've talked to, everyone that said nothing but good things about Kari is that Kari is kind of that athlete where he just really adjusts in the moment. Like, he's that reincarnation of excellence because he is excellent. But if you put Kari in a corner per se, you're going to see a different side of Kari that maybe you didn't even know was there. And I think that is what we're going to see at the Purge, because he's got a dumpster match against JoJo. So kind of give me your thoughts, and what do you see happening in that?
Kari's a clutch player. I mean, you see the man in the ring, the innovator of the Eurostep. I mean, watching what this guy does, he always pulls out something I didn't know he knew how to do.
Right.
Every time I see it, I'm like, you can do that move too? Every time I see it, it makes me sick, because he's just so damn good. But in all honesty, man, Kari's a beast, and he is wacky good, and does it with a smile, and just does it with cool factor. But I'm gonna tell you something, man. JoJo's a character. JoJo, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know what he's going to do. You never know where he's going to be. He's going to come out from under the ring. He's going to come out from behind the stands. He's going to come out and get you. JoJo, he ain't a wrestler.
When you have to defend yourself in the mean streets of Miami, can you call yourself a wrestler?
JoJo ain't a wrestler. He's a survivor, right? He's a survivor. As of right now, he's doing what it takes to pay the bills.
Right.
As of right now, he's going to show up here at the Purge, and that's a big check on the line.
Right.
So, I mean, JoJo's no stranger to dumpsters. So I think the Kari's in uncharted waters.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. I'm curious to see how that's going to play out. And kind of the final question I have for you as we kind of wrap up the talk about the TWC, you kind of alluded to it, the injuries that you've had. First, it was with Tommy Becker. Gosh, say that.
Tommy Breaker.
Saw that 3 times fast. It was with Tommy Becker breaking your ankle. And then most recently, you were also put on the shelf because of an attack by Hal Sagan, which I'm sorry in advance. I do have them as a guest on the show later this week. So I've got some stuff planned for Hal Sagan. If you're watching, just be ready. But kind of give me what that did to your mindset. Like you said, you were kind of firing all cylinders. You were hitting it week after week after week. And then you get put on the shelf because of an attack from these guys. So what's in your mind?
Sagan. What I saw Sagan make his return, the step into the sun, and he's got Isaac, and they're doing this thing, and and the first time I saw it, here's something, okay, maybe I can get behind that, and then I saw it week after week, and saw what it had become.
Right.
Sagan is a con man. He is a deceiver.
Right.
A snake oil salesman. And once upon a time, Isaac Mazer had a little bit of gumption, had a little bit of grace about him, but now to fall into this cesspool of lies and deceit, I don't have words. And as for what they did to me, breaking my arm, I was on the train. I was on the momentum train. My next title shot, whether it be Addicts, whether it be MPX, it was going to be something, and I was going to take it.
Right.
and they put a stop to that. TWC was done. The sex zebra had emerged, and then boom, because they could not handle being beaten legit.
Right.
You start with Red, then you go to Sagan. They couldn't just take out. They couldn't handle being taken out by the zebra.
Right.
So they had to do what they did.
Man, I feel you. And in the words of my good friend Handsome Rex, the spicy zebra was on a roll, man. I mean, you were on a roll. Talk about destiny that we had not too long ago. You know, you and Kaimi in a tag team hardcore match against Sky and Mr. Legs. And in my opinion, I mean, that whole card, you could say, hey, Tatum and Trey Miguel, match of the night. You could talk about, you know, Kari, Brick Savage, and Zachary Wentz, match of the night. For the hardcore fans, and it wasn't even like truly hardcore, but you guys did some crazy stuff that match, and a lot of people, the whole crowd, I mean, they were in tune. Like from the start of the match all the way until the very end, you guys had the crowd in the palm of your hands, and you put on a very thrilling show. And then we fast forward how Sagan takes you out, but then also they take out Mr. Legs,
which, you know, a week before they took out Legs, me and Legs had an approach.
Yeah,
we had a little talk, and it was almost. I mean, you could feel like it was almost foreshadowed. You know, Legs came to me before this happens and says, "We need to do something about House State.
yeah,
You know, put our differences aside. Listen, destiny was destiny.
right.
There was blood, and then we handled the business. The best men walked away that day.
Right.
Okay, but at the end of the day, the job was done. Now, with this scourge going on in MPX with Sagan, me and Lex put our differences aside.
Right.
And then I guess their fear of some sort of Legs and, you know, spicy sex zebra allegiance, and they had to go and do what they've done to both me and Legs.
Right.
It's hard to put in words.
I mean, you kind of talked about the resurgence and the rebirth that both you and Legs have had. For those MPX addicts that have followed the career of Mr. Legs, you can't keep Randy right leg and Lenny left leg down for long. And that is going to be a testament because, as you kind of alluded to it again, at the Purge, you and Mr. Legs have some unfinished business. And according to the graphics that have been floating around, we got a new tag team in MPX. Arms and Legs?
Well, here's the thing. I've been at home. All right, I've been sitting at home, and I've been seeing some stuff go on. Legs recovered very fast, but this Mr. Arms guy, I don't know who it is.
New character, huh?
A new guy.
Interesting.
You know? Here's the thing. I mean, I've been watching from the stands. Listen, you know, I was hoping I was going to be able to have my revenge at the Purge. I will be at the Purge.
Okay.
I will be there to support. But as for this Mr. Arms guy, you know, I keep on hearing about him. You know, all I can say is I'm not angry about Red Chambers not retaining or not taking the title. I'm not angry about why he didn't take the title from Tommy Becker last week. I'm not angry.
Right.
But, you know, Mr. Arms, he's okay in my book.
Hey, man, I mean, I know you mentioned you're going to be at the Purge. I will definitely be at the Purge as well. For those of you that will be in attendance, it is going to be a spectacular show. And if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, what are you doing? What are you waiting on? MPXWrestling.com. Go and get your tickets. If Destiny was any kind of testament, this next show will be a sellout show. It will be standing room only. I mean, you talk about all the talent. Like Tatum's excited. You've got Paulie P, who has been excited, and he gets excited very easily. Just across the board. I mean, the fans, the addicts, the talent, management, everybody is looking forward to the Purge. And I know you said you're going to be there. So if you need a seat, I got a seat for you. Or if you want a bird's eye view, I'll be up on the track if you want to join me for a handful of those matches.
Have to hang out Sting style and watch from the top. You never know. You never. What is it? I always say. those things in, man. But at the end of the day, man, I will be there, putting on my support. Let's see what happens. Let's see if Sagan shows his face. I said as of right now, I mean, I'm not even sure there's a match for that. If he's doing anything yet. I have no idea. As of right now, we got 2 weeks.
Yeah.
From where we're sitting right now, surprises keep on popping up. Every other day I'm seeing there's somebody else going to be at the Purge. I mean, we touched on TWC, but golly, I mean, the goddess herself, Athena's going to be there.
Yes.
Against my world.
Yes.
And that's going to be a bang. That, of course,
without a doubt,
it has to be. And then, I mean, Sky and Carter.
Man, the elephant in the room, huh?
That's gonna be. I'm amazed you guys allow that to even get put on. I was like, man, is that X gonna allow that? Wow, all right, we made it.
Yeah, no, man, I'm excited for it. It's supposed to be the main event from what I've heard. Sky versus Carver, which this past weekend, Carver actually sent in a video to MPX management and was like, "Hey, I got to get my message across. Let Sky know that June 15th, he will know pain."
Yeah.
And during that particular match, I want to be as far away from the chaos as I can.
Yeah, that's why. I'll be happy. I'll be happy to be a spectator at that point, because I'm not trying to be anywhere near that ring at that time. That's gonna be something to see. And if the audience who maybe hasn't attended an MPX show before, Sky De La Cremosa is. I mean, he's a savage. I mean, when the man's in the ring, no one is safe.
Right.
Friend or foe, it doesn't matter. Get out of the way. And that man always puts on a tremendous show. So if anybody is trying to see a different side of wrestling that they've never seen before, they need to be at the Purge.
I could not echo that sentiment anymore. Like I said, mpxwrestling.com. Tickets are still available. As of right now, it is just the general admission, which means you may get a seat or you may very well be standing, because at Destiny, we had over 400 to 500 spectators that came out, and we've seen the pictures floating around on social media. Day, I'm sure you've seen the pictures as well. It was a sold out show.
I was there.
People were hooked from the very beginning. And I mean, you look at Destiny, and I just want to backtrack here real quick. That show started off with Exodus Prime versus Chris Bay. On any other card, it's like, this is how you're starting.
Yeah.
So that's how you knew immediately, okay, this is going to be a really solid show if that's how we start.
I'll tell you this, man. We started off with, I'm a little shorter to the game, a little newer to the game. And I was able to be a part of Destiny.
Right.
The biggest MPX show to ever be put on. For the Epic to allow it and bring it in with such grace, with such open arms, that itself was heartfelt. For me to be there and say, when I was in that ring, and I saw that crowd around, and we're here, that was a moment.
Right.
And if you saw the Jumbotron out there and you were curious before, now you know.
Right.
Now you know. If you see MPX out there on that screen, you need to be here on the date it says.
Right.
Because MPX proved at Destiny that the shows that we put on are world class.
Right.
Second to none.
Right.
And we're going to prove it again at the Purge, and we're just going to keep on proving it.
No, man, you're definitely right. And the funny thing about Destiny, and Palmer and I have always joked about this and talked about this during that weekend, because it's spring break weekend. Unfortunately, with Texas, the weather kind of put a damper in the crowd. But even with it being a rainy weekend, it was a sellout crowd. And I mean, June 15th, June 15th, it's summertime. People are going to be out. People are going to be going on. We've got our Juneteenth celebration happening at Epic Central. So there's going to be a lot of festivity, a lot of things going on in this particular area. So Saturday, June 15th, the Purge happening here at the Epic. Man, I literally am looking forward to a huge weekend, and I can't wait to see you there, a part of the show. But the final question I kind of have for you, what's the one match that when you look at this card, and I know we've talked about some things that haven't even been announced yet, but when you look at the dumpster match, Kari and JoJo, you look at that singles match, Athena and Maya World, you look at the epic death match, Sky and the Carver, kind of what is sticking out for you, and what's your takeaway that you're looking forward to the most?
Of course, I mean I'm gonna reserve and say there might be a match being announced eventually that I'll be, oh, that's my one, so I'm gonna put an asterisk because you never know.
It's
You
okay.
never know. But for right now, for what I've seen at this moment, talking, whatever day it is, it's got to be Demo and Tommy.
Okay.
It's got to be. I got history, with both boys.
Right.
I've got a checkered past with Tommy.
Right.
Right. I'm not gonna say that. That Tommy Becker. I don't want him to be champion because I mean you got to respect real. Real respects real. And, Tommy Becker is phenomenal.
Right.
Phenomenal. When I first saw Tommy Becker just as a spectator before I even got into wrestling, I was like, that guy. Something about that guy right there.
Right.
Something happens when he's in the ring. And when I was actually able to compete with him,
right,
even more levels of respect.
Right.
Now, Demo, I mean, man, he's a wrecking train right now. So I gotta say that's my one, man. I'm gonna be sitting there watching that one, like, man, that's the stuff. A lot of great card, a lot of stuff going on, but I'm ready for that.
Man, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Day, thank you so much for taking the time out to join us tonight and kind of lead to that build up to the Purge. Can you believe we're little over less than a week away?
It's
like time is just ticking at this point. Like we're almost there.
I don't know, man. It's wild. I mean, it feels like just yesterday we announced we were doing it.
Right.
I mean, Phil Destiny feels like it was just yesterday.
Yeah.
And for us to be right there, and we're talking about the weekend. You guys have a lot of festivities going on. If I'm not mistaken, I always my dates wrong, but June 16th is Father's Day.
That it is.
I tell you what better Father's Day gift than some pro wrestling with your son, with your kids.
Right.
There's no better gift. And I tell you what, we got great women wrestlers. We got great men wrestlers. It's a full-on great family affair.
Yes.
People need to come out and check that out. But, man, we're almost there.
Hey, no, I'm glad you plugged that because I was literally telling my wife last week, as a matter of fact, I was like, hey, I know it's Father's Day on that Sunday the 16th, but after everything I've got going on with our Juneteenth celebration, the Purge, Daddy just wants to sleep. Like,
that's the gift. That's gonna take a break.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be definitely sleeping hard the day after the show. Depending on how hardcore we go in there.
I feel that.
I mean, I think a lot of people are gonna need a lot of rest for this show. I mean, Destiny had a lot of energy,
right?
Definitely, but that was just a spectacle of the show. The Purge is a different animal.
That it is.
It's a different kind of animal. Every match will have some sort of strong stipulations to it. Something will be on the line.
Right.
Every match, and this is gonna be a great one.
No, man, I'm definitely excited, and I'm glad you plugged it because that was kind of the closing point I had too. Was what better way to spend a Father's Day weekend, a family-friendly weekend? Because MPX, and that's another credit that makes MPX so strong, is that not only are they just the best weekly running wrestling show, not only are they producing top quality talent, not only are they doing top quality production, because I mean the production has been like none other as well, but every single Saturday, even out in Bedford, you've got families in attendance. Kids are there, the high fives, the cheers, the boos, the highs, the lows. It's just a roller coaster, man. So I really hope that everyone in attendance is ready for a good time. Saturday, June 15th, we'll be here before you know it. I'm expecting another sellout. Day is expecting another sellout. I might have to get a photo of you and Mr. Arms at the end of the night.
We're gonna have to see it. We're gonna have to see if if he'll come out, and see if we can actually be in the same room together. Because I mean, here's a lot of folks, say we have resemblance.
There's a lot.
He's got a beard apparently. I've yet to see the man. Here's the thing: I haven't been back to the MPX since my injury, so I've yet to see the man in person. But he's making some rumbling, and I will say this: we have June 15th. Well, we also have June 8th coming up this weekend.
Common Enemies.
Correct. If anybody wants to get a little taste of what MPX is about, we got the pre-Purge show.
Yes.
This Saturday. That's going to be a great show itself. It's always cool to see get a little bit of an appetizer of what you're going to see.
That is true.
Get us all revved up and ready for the Purge.
That is true. And if you can't make it out to Bedford physically, you can watch the stream. MPX does do streaming on Twitch. It is Metroplex Wrestling or MPX Network. You'll see their logo. It's so beautiful. It's so nice. And maybe, and I might have to get your help on this one, because I know Ernie Pruitt and Matthew Palmer they're good people, but sometimes they need a little pushing. Maybe if we can help get some streams up for them this weekend, or maybe boost that attendance this weekend, they might have the whole show live on Twitch.
You know, right now, you know, being a weekly wrestling show, and that's a for us wrestling fans,
Mm-hmm.
having a weekly show to go and see, to us, it's a privilege,
Right.
right? And we have to also look at the people behind the scenes,
That is right.
right? Wrestling is entertainment, which costs money.
That it does.
And for us to all want the best entertainment possible,
Mm-hmm.
and to get a weekly show, we need attendance. And we need the guys in the seats, but also we need more viewers. And also, so many people just do not know that there's a professional wrestling show every week. So us as fans, as the soldiers of MPX, we have to get out there and really let people know this is something you can check out.
Right.
And if we do get that attendance up a little bit more, say on the streams there, the whole show will be allowed. Because as of right now, it is only the first half of the show.
That it is.
Now, we'll see how Papa Pruitt and Papa Palmer are feeling. If they're feeling good, we'll throw it out there. But at the same time, hey, those are the guys who pay the bills. So I'm just showing up to, get in the ring and get beat up.
No, man, I definitely appreciate you and respect you as well, man. Thank you so much for taking the time out to join us and being a part of this crazy experience that literally feels like we just started yesterday, but we've been running a year. I mean, like, I just looked back at my notes and we started with the Wrestling Revolver, which MPX and Revolver are always great partners. But literally over a year ago today was the first time we ever bought professional wrestling out here to the Epic. And that was with Texas Toasted. And to kind of see the transformation up until this point, I mean, it's been phenomenal to just be a part of. And that's coming just from as a fan, me being the athletic and event coordinator, but more credit and respect to you guys behind the scenes for what y'all do, because this is insane.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
this has been phenomenal.
And there's so many folks. Like I say, you got a lot of people coming through here, families and good people of Grand Prairie. And a lot of folks coming through here that, they're always curious about professional wrestling. Like, hey, is that something that I would maybe like and see? And
Right.
I tell you what, it's impossible not to have a smile on your face when you're in that crowd. It's impossible.
That's true.
I don't care who you are. Once you sit in that wrestling crowd right there, you come in and you see what we do. It's ear to ear. You'll be talking about it the next few days with your buddies at work. It happens every single time. Even folks say, I don't like that wrestling stuff. I'm like, you ain't seen it yet.
Yep.
Come and see this day. It'll change your mind.
It's a different animal when you see it live.
Oh, it's amazing. It's so amazing to see it live. I always equate it to going to the circus.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm a big circus fan. So hey, we're in there like circus performers, brother. But at the end of the day, it's something awesome to do. We put on a very family friendly show.
Yes.
Like I said, it's still wrestling, but it is for the family. And man, it's the best time you can have on a Saturday night.
That it is. Day, again, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining in and tuning in to our Epic Live series. Looking forward to seeing many of you out at the Purge on Saturday, June 15th. And of course, for all things related to the Epic, always check out our website, jointheepic.com. Feel free to follow us on social media for any updates related to not just pro wrestling, but anything happening here at the Epic. And then for Metroplex Wrestling as well, you can follow them on social media, Metroplex Wrestling or MPX Wrestling. And Dave, before we officially close things off, how can we follow more of you as well?
I'm on the social medias, of course, right? I navigate what I can. Facebook, Deville, Instagram, Deville. I don't do the Twitter thing yet. But
you're not missing anything.
Yeah, right. Not enough time in the day, and golly, not enough bandwidth in the brain. But yeah, Facebook, Instagram, and also I'm affiliated with Nutrition Nation in Arlington and the surrounding cities. The best dietary supplements and nutrition you can get. That's the best place to go if you want to get a little bit of this. That's where to go. Nutrition Nation.
Beautiful, man. I appreciate it, and thank you all for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode of Epic Live.